Welcome back to our session on functions. In the last session we have discussed about what is a function, how we can define a function, how we can call a function. Today we are going to discuss about how a function is executed. We know that just by defining a function it is not executed. So to execute a function we need to write a function call statement. And when the Python interpreter encounters any of the function call statement, then the control is transferred to the function. The statement in the function's body are executed in order, and with the execution of the last statement or the return statement, control is returned back to the point from where the function is being called, that is to the caller. Generally, in a program, the functions are defined at the top. So, when Python interpreters read a function's definition that appears before the main part means the top level segment which consists of statements which are not indented at all. We know in Python blocks of statements are represented through indentation. So in a program, the part of the program which is not indented, that comprises the main part, and Python assigns or calls it by _main _, and this main part is referred by a special system variable _name followed by _. So when Python interpreter reads a function definition which appears before the top level segment or the main part, it only executes the function header, but the function's body is not executed, or we can say execution of the function body is deterred till the function call statement is encountered. So let us see how a function is executed by an example. So here we are again referring the same function sum, which adds two numbers a and b. So it started with the def keyword, followed by the name of the function, followed by the function parameter list. The formal parameters we can say, we'll see about different types of parameters in today's session. Now the two numbers a and b which will be added, and a return statement comprises the function body which adds the numbers and returns it. Now here where we are taking the input for two numbers, that is the main part. You see this is not indented, so it is starting from the leftmost margin. Now in the main part we are taking input for two numbers n1 and n2. Then we are calling the function. This is the function call statement. We are calling the function by passing these numbers n1 and n2, and the result of this function is assigned to n. Now whenever this statement, this function call statement is executed, you see the control is immediately transferred to the first line of the function's definition, that is the function header, and after that it executes the statements in the function. Here as only one statement is there, and that is the return statement, which is adding the numbers and returning the result. So the two numbers will be added and returned to the point from where it is being called, that is this statement. So this function now has the result which will be assigned to n, and then we are displaying the result. So let us see how this function is executed. Let us write this function, say define. We'll have some comments that this is the function's definition. to add two numbers, then define, we can say add and then say x and y, and then colon. As we know, this is the function's header. Then we may add one more statement like z equal to x plus y, and then return z. Now our function definition is complete. Now we are beginning the main part, which is named by main. Then let us have two numbers, say a and b. A equals to, we'll cast it to integer, input, enter a number, and another number, and then find the sum by calling the function add a and b, and print the result, that is print sum of a and b is C. That's all. Let us now save this program and execute it. So file, save, add to number, save, then execute it. So it is asking for a number 5, we give another number 6, and the result is sum of 5 and 6 is 11. So this is how a function is executed. So generally the function execution begins, program execution begins from the main block, and whenever a function is called by its name, the control is transferred to its definition. The function body statements of the function body are executed, and the result is returned back to the main block. Now let us discuss about the different types of parameters. As we have seen, a function may or may not have parameters. So what are parameters? Parameters are the input data required by a function to do the task for which it is being defined. Now in the previous program, in the previous example, just the example that we have just done, we have two parameters. And let us move to this program. We have two parameters, a and b, that we just passed in the function. The parameters are arguments or input values. To add these two numbers, we need the two numbers. So these are the parameters. So we know parameters are the input values. Now the parameters which appear in the function's call statement, they are the actual values that is being passed, and hence they are known as actual parameters or actual arguments. Now these two values a and b will be passed to the parameter list in order in the function's header. So the value of a will be passed to x and the value of b will be passed to y. So these two parameters which appear in the function's definition, that is in the function's header line, that are known as formal parameters. So x and y are formal parameters and actual parameters are a and b. So this is what we are discussing, the values being passed through functions call statement. That means the parameter that appear in the function call are called actual parameters or actual arguments. They may be simply values or variables or expression. However, the values which are being received through function's definition or the parameters that appears in the function's header line, they are known as formal parameters and they should be named variables as they have to hold the received values. We have just one example, the same example that we have done but with a different name, that is add. So we have already discussed this, the formal parameters and the actual parameters and how this function is being executed. So in the next session we will be discussing some more concepts regarding parameters.